I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. The school district. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Colleen, if you would take roll call, please.
Hafen, Huseby, Kirsch,
Here.
Kissinger Wolf,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Skubal,
Here.
Swente,
Swente.
Swente,
Swente is here.
Baloo,
She's on mute, but she's
Here.
Zimmerman. Zimmerman,
Jim.
He's also here.
They must have, something's not.
It's hard to hear you guys.
Okay, we just did roll call. Did you hear any roll
Okay.
call?
Now I hear you good now.
Must just be.
Okay.
Okay, Colleen's in the back, okay. Okay, we have a quorum, 2 on conference call, on Zoom, and 5 present. I'd like to make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I saw move school ball.
Second, Baloo.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Okay, District Administrator report.
So just a few things tonight. I wanted to update the board because we haven't talked about the traffic flow project in quite some time. I spoke with Arland recently. We are going to reestablish a connection with Point of Beginnings to look at the options around the land purchase that we had and that the possibilities of putting a road in back there, what that would cost the district. But we'll take a look at that. We did finally connect with a representative from the DNR. They told us that there's a number of different possibilities for permitting to go through that wetlands area. It really ultimately depends on how much square footage that we're going to impact. So there's a couple of things that we need to do. Once we have some information, we'll come back and have the Operation and Finance Committee look at that and see if it's a project that we want to pursue. But that's where that stands as of now. Just a brief update on the Wall of Honor because there have been a few developments. Everything is ordered for the Wall of Honor. We have a soft date, I think, right now, Colleen, of having everything ready to go and doing a small ribbon cutting ceremony on April 1st, which would be that in-service day as we come out of spring break. That may change. We'll see if everything goes as planned as far as the production of the signs and everything else, but right now that's kind of where we're at. So we'll be working with our partners on the committee to see what is going to be donated from their organizations, and then we've got a few other fundraising options that we'll be pursuing as well. So I'll keep you updated on that. Should know more next month. A couple of legislative things. Today was the last session for the Senate, so any of the bills that were not considered today, and I didn't see they're probably still working through some things now, but if they didn't make it through the process today, they're not going to become a law during this session. It'll be postponed. So there were a couple of things that were highlighted over the past few days. So as far as Act 20 goes, and I know Mark had put some of this information in his report as well, but the JFC, Joint Finance Committee, did give their approval to 4 of the curricula that they were looking at. So 2 of which I think are ones we've already ruled out 2 of those. So there's 2 within that package that we are still considering locally in our committee. So I'm sure he'll update you more, and we'll know more as that kind of unfolds as well. And then the last one, I just handed out to you a sheet on PI 27. So PI 27 is the statute rule that pertains to the start of a school year, and it always has to be after the 1st of September. So the DPI, this has been taken up a couple different times. I know WASB has put some information out on legislation that was submitted earlier. It doesn't go very far and doesn't seem to get a lot of momentum. So DPI is taking this up, and what they're doing currently is just looking at a rule change and maybe having some more flexibility around the variance or the waivers that a school could obtain in order to have an earlier start date than the 1st. So right now it's pretty cut and dry on a number of items that are written in. So what they're looking for, and this information came out, is for as many people to send them information and comments as possible. So there's information on the back of this sheet, some of the things that they're looking for. If any board members are so inclined and would like to reach out and comment, all the information for you to do so is there. I'm certainly in support of this and would like to see, whether we start before the 1st or we don't is really irrelevant, but I'd like to see the boards have more local control over that decision than what we currently have. So I'll be sending some information in as well, but the hearing will be on the 25th. So if, as you read through that, you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me and I'll walk you through it. And I'll supply you with a letter that I send before I send it out, so feel free to use whatever's in that for yourself as well. We have just a quick update on our open positions, and I know some of these are in the process of being filled, but we had 9 teaching positions posted and 1 admin. So some of these we have accepted offers, and we'll be bringing some recommendations at the next board meeting. So, and then the last one, I just wanted to update the board because I didn't do this last month, but our 3rd Friday count this year had 1,142 was the student count, which is significantly lower than where we were last year. And we do the 2nd Friday in January as well. That count came back at 1,149. So we did pick up 7 students in the fall, still not getting us back to where we were a year ago. But I believe in talking with Sandy this morning, there's an additional 8 students that we've picked up, right around 8 that we picked up just since that point in time too. So we are at least trending in the right direction. No big hit in any one given year when this goes into next year's count in the revenue limit worksheet. It's always based on a 3-year rolling average, so you don't get a big hit like we would typically see if this was counted on its own. So, but we're hoping that continues to increase and get us up to previous year's levels. That was all I had. Any questions on anything?
Have you come up with a trend or anything yet of why the enrollment was declining?
Biggest one for us that we noticed is it's a bigger class graduating and a smaller class coming in on the bottom side. We're not seeing a lot of movement in between those levels. So that's, I think our kindergarten class this year had, I want to say 63, but somewhere
really
in the low
small.
60s. And our graduating class was a bigger class. So.
Any other questions for Wendell? Okay, thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda items. You've had a description of, on your updates here, but I just wanted to identify that items number, too many pages, 7B and 7C were duplicate. They were in last meeting that we approved them, those 2 minutes. So we don't need to look at that, and we're going to drop under item 7F. Is that right, Colleen?
Yep.
The March 1st, 2022. We'll scratch those off the agenda. Okay, so with those changes on here, I should have probably done that with the adoption of the agenda. So scratch those 2 items, item B and C, and also the March 1st meeting. Looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second, Baloo.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Staff reports.
So tonight we will have, we try to connect with Ryan Flynn whenever possible. He's usually at events on Tuesday nights, so we catch him at the end of the fall season, the beginning of the year, the end of the fall season, and possibly in June. So tonight he's in between seasons, so he's going to give the wrap up of the winter sports and the prelude to our spring sports season.
Where do I stand with this owl? I mean, does it matter?
Nope, it's got
No,
Oh,
he's
you're
good
on
right there.
TV.
All right. So, hi everyone. Thanks for having me in.
Brian, with your size, we can see you anywhere.
So, anyways, thanks everyone for everything you do. Obviously, you got on board it. Sometimes you don't fathom the most stuff you guys have to deal with too and look into to keep everything running. So, winter sports. Honestly, I can't remember a year we had like this in Tomahawk in a long time. Overall, from our activities, our athletics, we're across the board. We're actually very successful. The kids have really seemed to buy in with Cooper Kelly and the weight room stuff, and the coaches are buying in. We're kind of moving in the really right direction right now. Discipline-wise, I don't think we had a single suspension for any of our sports, grade-wise, anything like that. So kids did an excellent job in the classroom, and also obviously disciplinary-wise, we had a really good winter. So kind of the rundown of winter sports, what happened. We're just going to go through as the season's finished up. Boys swimming, Coach Lesperance actually probably hit her tapering at the perfect time. The sectional meet, I think almost every one of the events PR'd. We ended up getting 2 kids through state, which we weren't really expecting outside of the kids in that pool. So Dane DeKeep qualified as a freshman in the 100 backstroke, and then Zach Germano, a junior, qualified in the 100 breaststroke for the state meet in Waukesha. So that was our first state send-off of the year. And then the 200 medley relay also broke the school record at the sectional, just missed going to state by a couple seconds. But vast improvement from those guys. They finished runner-up in the GNC behind Rhinelander, who was obviously runner-up at state for the swim meet. So they had a very good season in school. Next sport to finish up was wrestling. Wrestling was a little more hectic this year. We had all the female wrestlers come out. They had a wonderful time. There's a lot of buzz around the state, just in terms of numbers. Female wrestling went from 500, I think, registered wrestlers last year, around 1,600 in the state of Wisconsin this year. So it's a really fast-growing sport within the state of Wisconsin. Next year, we're kind of expecting about 20, 25 girls coming out. A lot of their friends went to the home meet stuff, really enjoyed it. They're interested in doing it. With that being said, the big thing with wrestling, Elise Gibo individually qualified for state. Presley Guprod was a 2-time conference champion, defended his conference title this year, and was also a regional champ along with Brain Ristol. We had 10 all-conference wrestlers out of 14 weight classes. At the conference meet, they finished runner-up as a team. And then I believe we had 7 sectional qualifiers on the boys' side, if I remember right. But then the big part of that is we put on held the WIA sectional for the first time in the field house, and it went about as flawless as it could for 27 teams coming in. And we're extremely proud. We got a lot of compliments of that, how it all ran. Huge thanks, obviously, to the Wrestling Alumni Club, the coaching staff, the Moen workers we had there, Schoolball family. Joe and Dave Nicholson ran track wrestling for us during the day. Track wrestling, they went down. Dean set up all the track mats for us. So all in all, we ran a pretty smooth event, and I think we'll get that in the future. Put in perspective, what we had is we figured we probably had 1,200 people in the field house that Saturday. We sold about 950 tickets at the door, roughly, and then add in 170 wrestlers, 2 coaches per team, and then 50 plus workers. I mean, we're pushing 1,200 people in all that gym throughout the day. So it was a pretty good event. We're really proud of that, and I think we represent our district really well. Next sport finish up would have been girls basketball. They hosted they won their Christmas tournament. That was the first wins of the season. Christmas tournament, they actually won the holiday tournament, went 2-0 at that beat Marathon. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you last time we beat Marathon in basketball, so that's a pretty good accomplishment for them. And then they hosted our first WIA home basketball game since 2003, and it was also our first WIA girls basketball playoff victory since 2006. They beat Sturgeon Bay 48-35. So all in all, that outside going 0-10 in conference with them. If you look when we played schools, our division we're 2-4 against them, and then divisions below us we're 6-4. So they upticked their win total by 1 from the year before. The playoff thing was pretty good. The girls feel really good about that. A couple all conference recognitions there with Claire Elmer and Freya Alberg on the season in the GNC. Then the next one to finish up would have been boys basketball. They got another win down the stretch, right before playoffs over Faith Christian. They're graduating 2 seniors, so bulk of the roster's back. So hoping that the kids kind of put a little more extra time in the off-season shooting stuff, and they got a ton of experience coming back. And then obviously the big one for athletics would have been hockey. The group of kids we have there right now is extremely talented. The coaching staff put a lot of time in, worked with what they had, and obviously we hit some new heights this year in hockey. It was our first conference championship, returned to the state tournament first time since 1991, so it's our second state appearance. Austin Lamer was named the D2 defenseman in the state, in the entire state for Division II, best defenseman in the state. Him and Jonah Dickens got all state honorable, or recognition. Austin was first team, Jonah got honorable mention. Conference-wise, we ended up with 7 kids on the all-conference team. Jonah and Austin were first teamers, and then Rex Riley, Brain Lamer, Logan Seymour, Caleb Dickens, and Sawyer Hannah were honorable mention for us on the season in conference play. One of the cool highlights outside of everything with hockey was the way the community went around them. I received emails from the WIA saying how great our community was down there, how well our team and coaches represented themselves, both in the press conference and around the rink, because the kids stayed down and enjoyed the state tournament together. So they're around the rink the whole time, and everyone said it was unbelievable how well our kids behaved, acted, and carried themselves well down in Milton. And then another big thing that we didn't know was happening was they were the Wisconsin Hockey Coaches Association academic state champions. So they had a cumulative team GPA of 3.87, which was noted as the second highest ever for that award given out. So that kind of came out of the blue for them, but obviously if you know that team and know the individuals on the team, there's a lot of kids that put a lot of time getting better and a lot of time in the classroom. If I remember right, I think we have 6 or 7 4.0s alone on that team right now that are competing to be valedictorians and salutatorians of their classes coming up from graduation time. So that's athletics end. And then obviously with winter, we had a ton of activities finishing up. And so I had to make notes because this is how well our kids are doing away from athletics and also doing within their clubs. Scout Stromberg signed to play hockey at Concordia University, Wisconsin, D3 for hockey. She was part of the boys hockey team. Paige DeKeep signed D1 to swim at UWGB. Next fall, collegiately, we had our musicians down at the Dorian Music Festival again in Iowa. We had 8 participants this year, which if you know anything about, it's a big music festival down at Luther College, so just the fact that they get to go and be a part of that for a couple days is a huge accomplishment. Our FCCLA qualified 5 people through 2 state competitions. Forensics currently has all 36 of their participants going on to districts next week, compete and go to state yet, so all 36 that win our sub-district level are actually qualified through to districts for forensics. FBLA qualified 2 individuals for state here the first week of April in Green Bay. They actually had another set of pair of individuals that had gotten invited also and their placement and their scores, but they chose not to go. So we have 2 individuals going to the state FBLA meet. The musical, obviously, if you didn't get to it, the musical finished up last weekend with Little Woman. It was a great performance. It really highlighted the individual talents that we have within our drama and our musical. And kind of each kid really got an opportunity to showcase their talents within that whole production if you weren't able to get it. So that just finished up, so they're getting ready for their children's play now in the spring. Our esports team was actually broadcasted on the state esports network, one of their competitions, because of how they've been doing. They also back in January, I believe it was, got to go on a field trip down to Raven Industries in Madison to learn about the gaming industry and kind of some careers within that. So that was a good experience for a lot of those kids that were able to go down and see that there's opportunities to continue on something that they're passionate about and go within an industry they're passionate about. And then obviously, I know John Marin's here. The pep band was huge for us this last month with all the pep rallies and send-offs. They're flexible, they came in, they played for us, that's great. I had a great environment in the gym for the kids that were getting sent off to state. And then the last notes I have is for my activities report is obviously we have the banners updated in the gym. Booster Club donated a lot of money for that, and we are able to showcase more of what our school has done over the years. If you get a chance to go in there and look at it, we got our 6 state championships, our 8 runner-ups, individual banners, and then we have all our conference championships, regionals, and sectionals now hanging in the gym. Of course, and it's a great problem to have after we order them. Now I get to order 3 more add-ons because we've got add-on banners, so they're not, so we can add them up to the year, so it's a great thing. So at the end of the year, what the one's coming down to get some new hardware added up on that, but I think it really represents our community well. And then the last thing is you know, pool stuff. Kelly Tolfson ran a lifeguarding class for us. We got some more individuals signed up for lifeguarding, which has allowed us to kind of open up the pool more. Plus, obviously, with girls and boys swimming being done now, we have more availability after school doing. We have a couple kids that are willing to work in lifeguards, so working with Taylor Remington on finalizing that community schedule and getting that open more for the community based on the community needs we're here. So it's kind of what I have. It's a lot, and like I said, we haven't had a winter like this in a long time, and so a really good time to be a Hatchet with everything going on. The kids did wonderful and really represent us well all winter. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and what a memory to remember all those things. Wow, that's great. Yeah.
Well, kudos to
Thank
you
you.
for the extra work that you had to put in for all the
Yes.
postseason stuff, so way to go on your first year doing that.
No one tells you how much goes into those state trips and meeting with WIA and planning. A cool aspect, if you want to know how that hockey team is, you know, some people were asking why we didn't have a coach bus. And the thing was, Coach Riley and I actually had one lined up. And the students came forward. Don has driven the hockey team for years and years and years. And the kids came forward and kind of said to Coach Riley, like, Don's driven us to every game. We want him to drive us down the stadium. So
Awesome.
that's why we took a school bus down, because the kids valued him and what the service he provided to us. And I think that's a really cool story within this whole thing that people don't realize behind the scenes. That was a kid's call that they're like, oh, we'll be fine. We want Don there, and we want Don a part of it. So it was pretty cool on their behalf on doing that for them. So. All right.
Okay.
Good.
Brian, I have a couple quick questions for you. I wasn't able to make it to the tournament, the wrestling tournament in Tomahawk, but with that many teams there, usually there's a lot of coverage by radio stations. How did that go? Were they able to all do their thing?
Yeah, so what we did is we actually put all the media up on the track that day. We closed the track, so how we had set up is with the wrestling rooms upstairs that we had that available to teams to warm up in, kind of like player or wrestler coaching areas, so they could get away from all the noise down below. And we put all the radio stations and photographers up on the track. And then when their kids were mat side, we let them go mat side, so we didn't have an issue. JJQ obviously covered like they always do for us and did an excellent job. And the other media that was there, it was local newspapers, you know, River News up in Rhinelander, Star down in Medford, Baldwin Woodville had their local reporter there, and
Ellsworth.
Good. Yeah, Ellsworth newspaper was there also. And so yeah, so it worked out good for them because they could sit up and they could get away, and when they need to go down the fray, they could head down into the fray. So.
Okay, great. I just wondered how that worked. The last question I got is, I don't know if you can answer it at this point in time. I know John talked about that he would coach basketball for this past season. Where does that stand, and where are we at, and look if we are going to be looking for a basketball coach?
I can't comment on that right now. They have their end of the season banquet on Thursday, so I'll know more after that from John and where he stands with everything. So. Okay. Thank you. Yep.
Do you want the job then, Jim?
I think I had it once. That was enough.
Just asking.
If he put a banner up, I can show you where it's at.
Atta boy.
Okay, well, thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry, it's fine, but the kids did a lot. So.
No.
Thank you,
It's
Ryan.
nice to
Thanks,
hear. Okay, no action needed. Item number 9, School Resource Officer Report.
Alright, hello everyone. It's hard to believe, but this is my 6th year here at the Tomahawk School Complex. Obviously the first year was, I got hired after Thanksgiving, and then you had a couple COVID years in there, so they kind of seemed like they're a little bit, short. The next one was shorter. But, obviously I'm still, the main point of the program is to, build trust and develop positive relationships with the students, staff, and parents, and I enhance the quality of life in school, and I continue to try to do that on a daily basis as best as I can. I have great relationships with administration, staff, to help do that. and, if issues do come up, to, work with them to help resolve anything that I can assist with. And also really, bridge that gap between law enforcement and the young people. Now, it's hard to, this year we did, in November, as you guys are aware, we did do a canine search of the middle school and the high school, and that's the first time that we've done that since my first year here, 2018. And then, numbers wise, as far as, I'm not really a numbers guy because it's hard, because I have good I have good contacts with students, or positive contacts with students, and I also have negative contacts with students. And so it's hard to put into numbers, but in law enforcement, we do have basically a complaint generated CAD system that we use when we go to calls. And I enter most of those myself while I'm working here. So if I entered everything that I did here, I would be sitting at my desk all day long. But to put some into perspective, I was just kind of looking at what I have entered so far this year. I am already at numbers that were at the total of all of last year. So I mean, obviously there's more stuff that's, and I'm not saying it's all bad, but there's good stuff happening, but there is some negative stuff that is happening as well. And also as far as like citation wise or juvenile referrals, I am well above what was done last year as well. And what could be causing that, I don't really know. I mean, for example, one thing, if you have a vaping or someone with alcohol, I mean, it's just matter of fact, we know that there's kids in here that are carrying vapes on them on a daily basis, and it's just a matter of fact of them getting caught with them. So I mean, it's not saying that necessarily that more kids are vaping, it's just that more kids are getting caught. So that's really, that's really all I have at this point for this year.
Are those are they a lot of repeat offenders?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, some of them are repeat. But there's some that, you're kind of like, you could be taken back by too, like, oh, never would have thought, but.
Sure.
That happens out in the community too.
Sure.
You deal with people that you really wouldn't think that you'd have to deal with, so.
Do you see more in the high school, elementary, or is it spread up? Is it changing?
To be honest, I think, this year I think is less in elementary. That, but obviously they've kind of had a restructure down there too. Guy has more help down there with Linda. And a lot of that is just, generally talking to kids. There's not a lot of whole lot of law enforcement action that, is done down there, but, looking at just some of the brief, it kind of goes in spurts. It's like, some days it's like you're really busy, and then some days you're not, which, I like the slow days too, because then it gives me the opportunity to go have positive contacts with the students. Instead of, talking about maybe something, a decision that they made that was poor. So that gives me an opportunity to, get in the classrooms and stuff like that and have, just positive contacts with law.
How has contact with the parents been?
It varies. Sometimes it's, they appreciate you contacting them, and sometimes it's, that they sometimes they stick up for their child. Like I said, it varies, but like I said, it's, kind of the same stuff that, myself as law enforcement, my coworkers, that we deal out, in the community as well. And sometimes, what we deal with as far as adults out in the community, can kind of, carry on to, if they have children too, so, if the parents have a poor contact or with law enforcement and the children are present, then that kind of gives you, a negative one. I mean, for example, I just dealt with, I talked with a kid down in the elementary not too long ago, and just having a positive contact with him in the office, he wasn't doing anything wrong. I think he was just getting picked up, and he happened to say something like, "Oh, my daddy told me I'm not supposed to talk to police," and I'm like,
It is what it is.
I'm like, well, I'm sorry that, your dad told you that. I mean, but, that's, like I said, that's, one of the main goals is, try to establish those, build the trust with that child and positive, relationships, and hopefully, can help down the road, so.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any questions for the other administrators on the reports? Or comments? No? Okay, moving on to item 10, the CISA 9 contract.
Our CISA 9 contract is attached to the agenda for you to review. It's some minor tweaks from year to year as we look at what our needs are, what we anticipate our needs are. CISA has been an excellent partner with us for a long time, providing services that would be incredibly difficult for a district our size to acquire if we had to hire positions to do that. So we rely on them a lot. We've had on multiple levels, primarily with academics and behavioral support, but they support our teachers, they support our admin. So we did make a few minor tweaks, but I don't think overall, Wendy, I don't think it added or subtracted anything from the overall contract amount when it was initially proposed.
No, we reduced some days out of the behavioral contract because we had some grant funding through Get Kids Ahead before. That's gone now, so we reduced that a little bit, but we were able to use some other grant funds to compensate that. And then we continued the work with curriculum instruction and then supporting those early learners and with the literacy program with me as well. So we just shifted. Days are about the same, we just shifted some around.
Okay, any questions for Wendell on the contract? Okay, then I'm looking for a motion to approve the CISA 9 service contract for the 2024-25 school year.
Long, so move.
And a second?
Second, Kirsch.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Right?
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. On to item 11, approve the Smart Lab proposal.
Okay, so we had Pat Sahlstrom here last month to present to the board about Smart Lab, what it is, how it can bolster our STEM program, both in the elementary and the middle school. We had a couple of assurances that we wanted through the DPI to know that we could utilize our ESSER grant that we got for the summer school funding and dedicate it to this. And so we still have some work to go back with Pat and finalize the proposal. So what I'm asking here for tonight is that the board would approve up to $300,000 of that summer school grant to be dedicated towards this. I don't know that it will be that amount exactly, but that would be the remaining funds that we do not have already allocated to summer school. And we're in a position with those grant funds, if we don't use them, they go back to the DPI. So we think this would be an excellent use for those dollars, and it would really help stretch a program out and get the most that we could out of it. So
What was the ongoing cost for the Smart Labs in general?
So it's $7,000 a year, and $1,000 of that is allocated to replenishing. The rest of it is for student licensures into the system and program, and ongoing training and coaching for the staff member, and that sort of thing.
Per school, or?
That's what we're going to talk to them about.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't want
I couldn't remember
to
what
get us
what
into
it
a
was.
bind where but we would not want to. We have the same staff member. We only have one staff member dedicated to this. We don't need to buy 2 coaching packages, so it might be a little higher than what it would be for one lab. I don't know that yet, but hopefully it would be considered a K-8 lab, even though we might be stretched to the 2 locations. So we're going to work with a company on that one.
Any other further questions? Okay, then we're looking for a motion to approve the proposal to purchase a smart lab in the elementary and middle schools.
I so move, Zimmerman.
Second, Screwball.
Motion's been made by Zimmerman, seconded by Scuball. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Must be that delay from South Carolina or North Carolina. Okay, item 12, public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment?
Yes, I just wanted to commend everybody who's working so hard on this redistricting plan. It's so complex and you guys have obviously a lot into it. And I was there when you made the presentation to Bradley yesterday, asking for input. Yeah, I'm really happy to see all of you doing things.
You're welcome. That's probably a good opportunity to talk about the 3 public comment sessions that we have. Never mind, Charlie's gonna do it during board
Yeah,
referrals.
we'll do it on your board referrals. But, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other public comment?
I just want to thank Jill Lillick for 20-plus years of service to our district. I've known her a long time. I've seen her work with kids, and she's done a real nice job. I wish her well in retirement.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, no further public comments?
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, yeah, just one, I'd like to jump in with Bob there. I'd really like to congratulate the hockey team. Obviously, success on the ice, but to accomplish a 3.87 grade point average is great. I think that says a lot about Tomahawk and athletics and the coaches and the staff we have here.
Great. Yep. Totally agree. Thanks, Ron. Okay, on to item 13, board referrals. If you want to.
So we just wanted to remind everybody that we start our public meetings regarding apportionment tomorrow. There's 2 meetings, one at 4 and one at 6:30 here in this room. And then next week, Tuesday at 5:30 and next week, Thursday at 6:30. So we have 4 public meetings coming up, looking for community input, feedback, you know, anything, so that we can continue on down the process of wherever that road takes us next.
We have the community meetings tomorrow night, and then Thursday we'll have a ad hoc meeting.
Correct.
And we're going to meet with the lawyer to find out what steps we have to take next.
Yeah, and we have met, I think, have we hit all of the
We've
town
had-
boards?
As of last night, all the town boards have been hit, I didn't want to say hit, that isn't right. Briefed on it, that it's been on the agenda, or there's been some comments, and I appreciate the help from our community members too.
Yep.
Ken Schultz and Marguerite, that they've been out there helping us, especially tonight we had another one. Ken went back out to Little Rice because it was on their agenda for tonight, so he was out there at 4:30 to cover with that. So all the town boards have been covered. It's on JJQ, it's been on it's on the website for the chamber, it's been in the newspaper, so the word's out there. You know, somebody says they haven't heard about it, I've got the list of stuff where it's been, and we'll have to find what hole they're in to get the information to them. I don't know. So we will be asking those questions, and then we'll be bringing updates after that meeting, after we have the community meetings and that to the board, to let you know what's going on, what the next steps would be. I think it's been a positive overall. I mean, there have been very few questions, but yeah. Time to move on after 60 years.
So far, so good.
Okay. Deb, anything for CISA 9?
We had the CISA 9 meeting last Wednesday. The Career Tech Ed gave a presentation. I did not know that they offered Career Tech Ed support. So they're looking for your input too, of anything they can do to meet your needs. It was, and then we also, just to give Al Betry a shout out, that guy is just on fire. I mean, he's tearing down a wall by himself, redoing the inside of the CISA 9 building, but we did an evaluation. We had that all done from PAC, the district administrators. I've never seen such a glowing evaluation, and I think deservedly so. He's really moving the CISA 9 upward and forward. So, yeah, I really enjoy going there.
Great. Well, thank you for being our representative. Any other board referrals, comments? Okay. Moving on to item 14, we'll be going to closed section under Wisconsin statutes 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C, to consider employment, promotion, compensation, and performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Looking for a motion to go into closed session.